Вон он летит.
On May 20th, Ukraine's Defense Intelligence Directorate reported that a UAZ Patriot vehicle carrying 4 senior officers from the Russian Akhmat unit, Kadyrov forces, exploded between Skadovsk and Antonivka in the occupied Kherson region. The explosion resulted in the deaths of all occupants. Following the initial blast, a secondary explosion occurred as the vehicle's ammunition detonated. This incident is part of a series of targeted attacks by Ukrainian forces against Russian military personnel in occupied territories. For instance, on March 20th, 2025, a Nissan vehicle carrying 2 Russian officers exploded in Skadovsk, as reported by Ukraine's defense intelligence. These operations underscore Ukraine's ongoing efforts to disrupt Russian military command structures in occupied regions. And on May 22nd, Nikolai Volibouv, head of the Belovsky district in Russia's Kursk region, was injured when a Ukrainian drone struck his vehicle. According to reports, Volibouv sustained injuries to his hip and arm. He managed to exit the vehicle during the attack and was later assisted by passing Russian servicemen. Following the incident, he was transported to Moscow's National Medical Center of Traumatology and Orthopedics for surgery and is currently undergoing rehabilitation. Russian President Vladimir Putin reportedly called Volibouv to wish him a speedy recovery. This attack is part of a broader pattern of Ukrainian drone strikes targeting Russian officials and infrastructure in border regions. For example, in a separate incident, Ukrainian drones reportedly struck a highway bridge and Volobouyev's car in the Kursk region. During the mass drone attack on Russian capital, a drone strike hit the Patriot Expo Center near Moscow, damaging 2 exhibition pavilions and injuring a security guard with shrapnel. Several cars in the parking lot were also hit, according to local sources.
Ебал. У нас.
Armored vehicles and other vehicles equipped with electronic warfare have been deployed around the Kremlin as drone attacks enter their 3rd day. Mobile networks are down. The entire perimeter is fortified. Ukrainian units destroyed a Russian TOS-1A Solntsepyok near Vovchansk. The 4-post brigade hit the heavy flamethrower system with a precise FPV drone strike. The TOS-1A Solntsepyok is a Russian heavy flamethrower system that launches thermobaric rockets. Mounted on a T-72 tank chassis, it devastates targets with high heat and overpressure, especially deadly in enclosed spaces like bunkers or trenches. It's not technically a flamethrower, but its effects are just as brutal. A 41-year-old from the Netherlands was caught sneaking into Ukraine through bushes near the Slovak border by a bike. He had no passport, claimed he was traveling Europe, then admitted to legal trouble back home and losing his job in Germany. The newly formed motorcycle unit of the 425th Separate Assault Regiment Skala took part in offensive operations in the Kursk sector. The corresponding video was released by the regiment's press service. It is reported that such a format of assault operations was used for the first time in the armed forces of Ukraine. The motorcycle assault troops operated at night using night vision devices. At high speed, the assault group passed through engineering barriers, dragon's teeth, crossed the border, broke through to enemy positions, and captured them. Motorcycles also ensured a rapid withdrawal from the occupied positions. In addition, the unit evacuated the crew of a damaged vehicle using a quad bike and a wounded comrade using a motorcycle. According to information from a War Archive observer, the assault took place on the Ukrainian-Russian border in the area of the now non-existent village of Novi Put. The formation of the first motorcycle company in the armed forces of Ukraine became known recently on May 20th. Judging by the published footage, among other tactics, the movement of large swarms of motorcycles was practiced with 2 fighters on each, a driver, and a gunner. Both are armed with AK-74U assault rifles, which, according to the plan, should simplify shooting on the move, as well as generally facilitate maneuvering and handling weapons. After dismounting, the driver and shooter act as a pair. The fighters note that the regiment provided full and high-quality training for its personnel, with no restrictions on fuel or ammunition. It can be assumed that, by analogy with the Russians, the motorcycles will be assigned specific roles. One may carry radio-electronic countermeasures, while another may tow stretchers for the wounded or ammunition. The main task of such motorcycle units is to quickly capture positions by rapidly breaking through open terrain, minimizing the time needed for the enemy to detect and respond with fire. A wife should see her husband as the master. Don't buy or rest without him. Fresh advice from the Russian Orthodox Church. Back to the 18th century, one sermon at a time.
What prevents living like this? Pride. And all the insignificant people who mean nothing are as proud as Satan. Try, wife, try approaching your husband and saying not to buy anything without him. Start small. Buy your own different little things without telling him. But for something for the home, say, Father, as you say, bless it. Don't go on vacation with friends without him. And it seems so simple. Pride gets in the way. This is why we can't enter paradise. It's not today's feminist pride. It's the eternal human pride, when the lesser refuses to acknowledge the greater. Because of this, people grumble about authority. Do you think if you were allowed into power, you would be better? You would be such thieves, make way. From morning till night, they would only be busy stuffing their pockets. But people grumble about authority because they don't know how to obey, how to receive a blessing. They don't respect those above them. They speak ill of them. This is the root of all our problems. Which of our women considers a man her lord? No one. A fat hog, a lazybones, lying on the couch watching football. Those are all the words about the husband. He won't lift a finger against you. He won't beat you or scold you. But he is the elder, and you should acknowledge that. That's the root of happiness.
And more about Russian values. Daria was repeatedly raped by a Russian soldier during the 2022 occupation near Kyiv. Now she's breaking her silence to expose the crimes and support other survivors.
They, the Russian military, came to our house and said that they knew that a call had allegedly been made from our house and that someone had supposedly called, and that after that call, their positions were heavily shelled. They interrogated us for about 4 hours. On one of the following days, they came back and gathered us all together in the yard. And the one who was in charge among them pulled out a phone from his pocket and asked whose it was. I said it was mine. And he said, "Get ready. You have to come with us for interrogation." I went with them, got in the car, and this one Buryat, the one in charge among them, took me to the neighbor's house. The neighbors were not home at the time. He took me out of the car and into this house. I realized where this was going. I asked him if he would ask me anything about my phone. Any information or questions? He said that he was not interested in my phone. He was interested in me. The only thing I will say is that this lasted about 2 hours. Afterward, he asked if I would tell my parents or whether my parents had weapons. I said they didn't, and I would not tell them anything. After that, he brought me back home. That was indeed the most terrifying moment. When I saw my parents, the state they were in, they didn't know if I would return. The next day, the same thing happened. He came back. I know how difficult it is, but my goal is to make it visible, maybe without names, but to make these crimes visible, because they are real, unfortunately, and there are a lot of them.
In Kurgan, an unknown assailant attacked Andrei Kondratyev, the head of the defense company JSC NPO Kurgan Pribor, which specializes in the production of aviation weaponry. According to the Russian news outlet Ura.ru, the incident occurred on May 22nd at around 7 p.m. The driver brought the plant director to the entrance of the building. That's where the planned attack took place. The man was struck with a hammer. Emergency medical assistance was immediately provided at the scene, which possibly saved his life, a source told the publication. The victim is currently in the hospital in moderate condition. The situation is already under the control of Sergei Muratov, head of the Federation Council's Defense and Security Committee. According to some media reports, in 2024, Kondratiev was presented as the chief designer of the enterprise. His professional activities are now believed to be linked to the motive behind the attack. JSC NPO Kurgan Pribor is a leading Russian defense enterprise. There is little publicly available information about its operations, but it is known to produce components for artillery shells, multiple rocket launch systems, aviation missiles, and bombs. According to some data, the enterprise supplies about 60% of the Russian market for artillery fuses. It is worth noting that a related company, JSC NPO Kurgan Pribor subsidiary Special Design Technological Bureau Kurgan Pribor, is engaged in the production of RVVMD air-to-air missiles, as well as components for UMPK kits used in free-fall bombs. Last month, in the Russian city of Bryansk, the car of a leading Russian designer who was involved in the development and modernization of electronic warfare systems exploded. Yevgeny Rydakov was the head of the design bureau of the JSC Bryansk electromechanical plant, a key developer and innovator in the sector of creating advanced EW systems for the Russian invasion army. It is known that Rydakov's car exploded when he and a colleague got into it. The publication suggests that the other person might have been the deputy head of the design bureau or his assistant.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.